As I told you last year, I'm starting to doing that professionally, and the first results are showing I upgraded the lightning timer software to be remote controllable. To stop the speakers from talking, I still need your human interaction. So we have got two signals. When I raise one hand, it may be the left or the right one. If I raise one, I need you all to clap with your fingers. Can we please train it? That's for the speaker's signal. Finish your sentence, because your time is over. If I raise both hands, I need you to go in a frenetic applause. More frenetic.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
That way we ensure two things. One, we finish on time. The other, every speaker gets a frenetic applause.
Wow.
Now we start with Reimer Bauer from Forschungszentrum Jülich about PyMove 3D. Are you ready?
I'm speaking for the Python Softwareverband Germany. Okay, now I'm ready.
Oh, yeah, he's speaking for Python Softwareverband Germany. We owned our own Verein in Germany for it. You're up.
Okay, this was a nice talk before, and I start with something similar. And the thing was, we tried to find out what maybe childs or school or student be interested to learn programming. And we found out they like 3D. And so we decided to make a contest for them. And this is starting today. And the idea was it should be also a learning experience. And this contest is driven by the Python Softwareverband. This is something like a small equivalent to the Python Software Foundation for Germans. And the idea is, we need a Python IDE. There are lots available. And we found out Blender can be a very good IDE because it has Python 3.3 implemented. And you can very easily install it on all platforms. And it has the same kind of installation. You have it on Linux, Mac, and on Windows. And it's not just you have an ASCII terminal like normal IDEs have. You have this in 3D. And with this 3D objects, you can make everything look like and move and dance and jump and create new things. And if you like to have a movie, this makes Blender too. So you can have a contest where school students have to give a program which did everything in Python, creates objects, makes some movements, maybe they build a rocket or something like this. And there are also some physics inside, so you can make some gravity things or make a ball which just jumps up and down. And so this contest, it starts today. It runs until 1st September. And we will have a prize-giving party for the school students at the German Python conference in Cologne. And we like to continue this over the next years. Maybe we found so much people interested in it that we can do it on a EuroPython too. Maybe EuroPython contest for school students would be nice. I put this slides later online, so lots of links here. And yes, there's another talk, lightning talk on Wednesday, so I can skip this and show something from Blender. What this is? You can do very easy some 3D objects in Blender, but just looking at this. For a student, it's just learning about lists. Then there's a small section, just a loop, and if I run this, oops, it's now out of the window, okay. This was not planned. Okay, you have to believe this. There's a rectangle there. And you can also make another level. This was the idea to simulate how Sokoban, a game which we mostly all know, will be. So it's just the next layer and so on. So you can make a little game by this. Also, you see in this window, there is a Python interpreter here. So, and this looks totally the same on each platform. And yeah, this is really 3D. If you, for example, you can rotate it and so on, so you see this. And we have a site. This is for this to register and also a lot of course material. Just look. It's a complete course. Also, this was also the idea not to have just something which can be done in a contest. We like to have courses for Schooler students. And we have some of the companies in Germany which provide rooms, and now we are looking for tutors, people who like to train Schooler students. So if you are interested, I'm here over the week. Please talk to me. And this is all online, and it's a complete idea how to make things. For example, I show you another thing. You can very easily make a new figure. It's in German. So it's a...
Thank you. One moment. So I'm a little sad that the last word is sorry, it's in German. Reimer, could you leave your laptop connected, and I need the king of the regex, Christoph? You had the Google, yeah, you don't need? Okay, so our next speaker will be Mick from PyCon Ireland. So you can take your laptop, give me the microphone, and while he's setting up, what do you get if you cross a joke and a rhetorical question? Some are getting it. In getting this lightning talk man thing started, I interrupt the story for Mick from PyCon Ireland. Oh, you need a microphone. This one. Can you test it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 4. Okay. No. Can somebody switch on this microphone? Oh.
Hello?
1, 2.
Perfect.
Cool. Okay, Mick, about PyCon Ireland.
So, as I'm required to do by the rest of the committee, I have to give a really, really quick talk on PyCon Ireland, which is set in the not so sunny Dublin in October. So, if you're getting a bit sick of this hot weather and the nice sun and the nice Italian weather, then we can offer you a lovely trip to PyCon in Dublin, which is in October the 12th and 13th, with sprints to follow on the 14th and 15th. And we've got lots of cool talks lined up, although we've got room for more. So if anyone wants to talk, just give us a shout. We have lots of stickers and flyers to give out to people as well. And that's me done. It's very, very quick.
Wow. Mick, will there be lightning talks in PyCon Ireland?
Oh, how could I forget? There will indeed be lightning talks.
There will be lightning talks. So
possibly presented by a special guest as well.
If you want to have more lightning talks, also come to PyCon IE. Our next speaker will be the king of regex. And while he is setting up, I'll continue my education story. Because in Germany, the speaker association is not that ripe than in the United States. Wow, you get only one liner of the story. That gives me the story for all time. Great. Christoph, king of the regex.
So, hi. I would like to talk about regexes as the title of the presentation, and you know the drill. So, you import the re module, and yeah, how the API goes, and you think about it. Yeah, I forgot how to dock. That's it. Okay, quick look into the documentation, and yeah, got it. Okay, so we are going to start. We have a text, and we want to match this text, so we do this regular expression, doc number, everything is okay, so we run it. And we also want to get this group first, so to get this number. What? Why? Okay, so again, quick look to the documentation. Okay, not match, you should search. By the way, if I'd like to match, I would use this pattern with dash before, yeah? So why it's like that? Okay, so after a while, you end up with the code like that, so it's pretty longish. And you got this compile, this searching, you need to test the M if it's known or it's not. If it's the match object, you will then can do this group method and extract it. So this is kind of PETA solution, and to avoid it, I would like to introduce you Python Rex. So, so you may ask, what is the Rex? Is it Rex like a Tyrannosaurus Rex? Not really. So is it Rex like a king? Not really, because actually it's more like a Perl. And why? Because the king of the regex is Perl. And the Rex tries to mimic Perl regex syntax in Python. So, how does it look like? So you remember this pretty longish code, so it's this in the Rex. So you have the string, you use the operator that is overloaded of equality, and you just have the Rex, and then you have this regex like in the Perl, and that's it. It's working, it's searching this, and it's evaluating to true if you want to use it in conditional statement. So you can also prepend it with the M, like in Perl. You can also very easily matching with groups, because you can take all this expression, and this is a dict, and in fact this is a default dict, and then you, for example, can search for, so get the attribute 1 or get the named attribute like num and get this number. And it won't fail you if you don't find anything, because it won't write an exception. You just have known that nothing is, searched, matched. So it's that simple. It also can do substitutions in the same way that the Perl does it. So the same overloaded double equal operator, and you only prepend the S letter before to the regex. And you can also choose your own delimiter S, like in the Perl you can do it. And you can use all the flags that Python uses, so D, E, L, M, and so on. So you can give this suffix to this regular expression. And by the way, I have no idea why dilm sucks, but this is the order that the Python documentations mentioned all the flags. And also this super rex have ability to cache all these patterns. So if you rexing all the time, this same pattern is super fast. And if you want to clear, you have the rex clear cache. If you want to avoid caching only one pattern, you can have cache false. And there is one more thing. So I have already. Yeah, it's only 72 lines of code, and somebody says that, why did you possibly make a Python package that is only 72 lines of code long? So I did it because simple is better than complex. So it's working. So if you like this project, start using it, start it on GitHub to get me know that you like it, and that's it. Thanks.
Thank you very much, Christoph. Great, 72 lines. How long are those lines?
Not so long.
Not so long. Our next speaker will be Marc-André Lemberg from the Python Software Foundation, from the Python Software Python Brochure project of the Python Software Foundation. He'll present it to us. I went to the United States to learn more about speaking. There's a National Speaker Association. It had a conference, and I flew across Chicago and got stuck in Chicago. If you remember my talk from last year, I was talking about the cultural differences between Germans and United States Americans. That in Germany it takes some years until you call somebody a friend. In the United States, I was standing at the terminal in Chicago O'Hara, which also takes years, but I was exchanging 1 or 2 sentences with a guy who was also standing very bored there. And 2 hours later, when our flight, it was 8 o'clock, our flight, which was leaving on 7 o'clock, was still in time. I lay down because I was tired, and he was introducing me to somebody else standing there. My German friend is rather tired, so he's lying down. And I said, okay, I'm his friend. We were exchanged 1 sentence. But the story will continue. But now, Marc-André Lenberg, Python Software Foundation brochure.
Thank you. So if you were here last year, then you probably already know about this project. It's a project that I've been running with a few other guys who are very interested in marketing Python to people who normally don't attend these conferences. So you need something to give them. And we thought it would be a good idea to have a brochure that you can actually hand out to people to make them aware of how great Python is and where Python can be used. And I just want to skim the brochure now because we finally have a preview PDF available on our website. And just going to flip through this. So we tried to make it look nice. We gave a short introduction into what Python is all about, where it can be used, like on the web, or for doing surveys, or for doing mapping, for doing ERP stuff, which is, well, it's interesting in a way. If you if you like lots of numbers, lots of reports, and you have to do that all the time. You can do it for doing weather analysis. You can do it for use it for global earthquake analysis and creating models. It's used in industry to optimize the industrial processes. It's also being used at the DLR, which is kind of the NASA of Germany, to do aerospace calculations and designs. It's used in finance. So you have various systems written in Python that are actually doing the trading for you. You probably know the OLPC project. That used Python as well, very successfully for the sugar environment that they have. It's used in CERN for all kinds of different analysis, for managing the tests that they do, for gathering all the data, for managing the grid that they have. It was used to find the Higgs boson, by the way. It's not being used on Mars yet, but it's being used for testing the Mars rovers, so and to create the models that are needed for the Mars rover. And we just had a talk about this. It's being used in the film industry a lot. And of course, we have Openstack. I think we're going to have another talk about that during the week. Right. So, of course, we need to refinance this in some way. So we have ads in the brochure, and we already sold most of those. So I'm not going to talk about those. I would like to talk about these types of sponsorships. Reference sponsor entries. So what we're going to do is we're going to have a page in the brochure where we can have a small entry like in a phone book with a logo, with an address, with the contact information, with a one-line description of what you do. And in return for sponsoring that entry, you get a box of 120 copies of that brochure that you can give out to your customers or well, whoever you want to give it to. It's a very nice way to sponsor the brochure. It's a very nice way to spread the word about Python. And we're not only using it to actually refinance the brochure, but also to reach out to more people, to people that don't come to these conferences, to get more awareness for Python. And you can buy those reference sponsorships on our website. Skip to that page. This is the website. Here a bit. It's brochure.getpython.info. If you mistype that, then you go to the download page of Python. So just so that you know, and that's where we can buy the entry for that for the brochure. That's it.
Woo! Marc-André Lenberg, the Python software brochure. Marc-André Lenberg was a good lineup because the next talk will be about Apsidic Survival Kit. Thomas, I need you at the fault because he was always talking about using Unicode, and Unicode is for soft New Age people. Real people do encode stuff in AppSedic. That's a joke only Alex Martelli and me gets, I guess. It's a long time ago.
I get it too.
You get it too? Oh, we're 3 people getting it. So can you connect it up? That guy who called me his German friend, 2 hours later they told us that our flight is essentially cancelled. And now we were 8 people walking through Chicago O'Hare Airport and getting to some rent-a-car. And now my German control instinct get through. And I asked, could we please introduce each other so we at least know our names before we get into a car and drive 400 miles through the night? And we introduced each other. We went to the rental car station. We rented 2 cars. And then we were 4 people who just met on the airport, who traveled 400 miles from Chicago to Indianapolis in the middle of the night. And we talked and everything. And we exchanged to his car. He dropped me off at the hotel in Indianapolis. And I thought, wow, if they call you friend, they really mean it. Taking me to the hotel and all the stuff. But the story is not over. Now, AppSedic Survival Kit. Thomas.
Where's the timer, by the way?
The timer is here. Start. Are you ready? Can you check the microphone?
Hello, hello, hello.
Okay, Thomas with AppSedic.
Okay. I'm going to talk. I'm going to present to you an AppSedic Survival Kit. So, to his introduction, I'm interested how many people basically know what AppSedic is. Quite a few.
Wow.
And how many of you have actually had to deal with it? No, I see there's a lot of potential in this room. AppSedic is a way to represent characters in computers. The acronym stands for Extended Binary Coded Decimals Interchange Code. It was created in 1969 and has similar goals as ASCII. ASCII, everybody knows, American code for information interchange. And it can represent 128 characters, which is mostly useful for English languages and not much else. So there are many other encodings, for example, Latin 1 encoding, which was standard encoding for Python for a long time, which adds a lot of characters. And it lacks the Euro character, so they introduced Latin 9, which includes the Euro character. And there are also encodings like the Windows ANSI CP1252, which combines these 2 encodings. And you can get along quite well with these encodings in Western languages. If you need to do Cyrillic, you use the ISO 5. And if you really can, you use Unicode, as everybody knows, and an encoding that can represent Unicode as UTF-8 or UTF-32. So the question arises, why on earth would you use, or would you want to use AppSedic? And the short answer is, you don't. So if you can, avoid it. But the real question is, when do you have to use AppSedic? So when can't you run away from the zombie, but when do you have to fight it? And that's when you have to process data that originate in mainframe systems, which is quite a popular platform in finance and insurance industry. So what does AppSedic look like? Well, it's not that scary from the outside. For example, there's the AppSedic International encoding, code page 500, which includes all the characters from Latin 1, but with totally different codes. And to make things worse, there are many encodings that include the same characters, but again, at different codes. So a popular one is the German code page, at least in Germany. But it also lacks the Euro code. So they did another encoding, which is identical, but includes the Euro sign. And basically, you end up pretty messy. So how do you recognize AppSedic? When do you know you have to deal with AppSedic? Basically, when you have text data that look completely messed up, really, really messed up. A good indicator for them to being AppSedic is that the space character in AppSedic has the hex code 410 or 40, which is the add character in ASCII. So text files with lots of add characters and otherwise totally being messy are a good indicator that they are AppSedic. So you can try to read them with an AppSedic encoding. If you have a regional encoding with additional international characters, you start with a character you know that is very common in your language. For example, in German, it's the Umlaut Ü. And you look at words that apparently contain the umlaut Ü and see what kind of hexadecimal value they have in your input data. And from that, you can derive the actual encoding. How about Python? Well, reading encoded data in Python is easy. You just use codex open in Python 2. And it even works with code page 500, which is international EBSTIC. But it pretty much fails with all other. I didn't really try every one, but each I tried, that just failed. So how can you fix that? Well, you can hope that someone already implemented the particular looking for, which is the case for the old German EBSTIC codec. But if you also want to Eurosign, you have to modify the code and include the Eurosign. And if you don't have a basic codec already, you have to start from scratch. And you have to re-implement your own codec. So a permanent fix would be to include the regional EBSTIC encoding into the Python standard library, which wouldn't be particularly difficult because IBM already provides mapping files which can be used to semi-automatically generate encodings for it. And I think it would include the usefulness for Python in finance. And Python would also catch up to Java, which includes all of the EBSTIC encoding. So if anyone responsible for the Python standard encoding, if you think that's a good idea, I'll be here all week, and I'll be glad to help to integrate EBSTIC into Python. Thank you.
Woo! Great. Did you see that you get a thumbs up from Marc-André? Okay. He's the codings guy. That's good. Don't let get hold of him. I'm not really sure if I decipher correct, but it's an you're already Hakut.
No,
Harut, it's an R. Harut Pargesian will talk about Ictomy, a tool for building web apps. So, you're ready? No, you're not ready? You're ready. What's that? No. That reminds me, please switch off your mobile phones. That was a reminder for that. Are you ready, Harut? No, you're still adjusting. When I was at the conference on the next day, I came back to my hotel room and the message light at the telephone was blinking. I got the receiver and there was a voice message. Hi, it's Steve from last night. I'm here at the airport. They won't let me take your luggage to your hotel. But I negotiated with them. If you give them a call, they will send it to your hotel. And it was, wow. He not only took the extra mile to get me from the airport to the hotel, he also took the time to talk with with United Airlines that they would send me the luggage. I was totally astonished, but I already got it in the morning, and that was another funny experience. I went there with all my German information and boarding card and all the stuff and ID card. And the lady sitting there said, oh, nice that somebody is coming. There was an airplane just with luggage and nobody arrived with it. And you can take it because nobody would take your clothes. He would look funny in it. So I was totally fascinated. And now let's be fascinated by Ictomy. Are you ready?
Yes.
Good.
I would like to talk about a tool we use in our company to build websites. It is Ictomy. Ictomy is basically a name of god from Lakota mythology. It is spider. Spider is something related to web, so we decided to use this name. Ictomy is based on WebApp. It is not library. It is library, not framework. It is not forcing you to organize your code in something in some particular way, but it provides some cool stuff for building web apps. The first is web routing, like Werkzeug. I will talk about it today. Also, we have form validation and other things. Routing is based on chaining and combining handlers. We support Werkzeug style URL matching. You can match subdomains, path, or whatever you can implement. And also, the part of applications, the handle chains are reusable and they can be included many times. Handler has a very simple interface. It accepts environment containing HTTP request, database session, etc. Interface accepts data containing parsed URL parameters, and it accepts optionally next handler, next chain handler. This is the way we do URL reversing. You can get partially reversed URLs. And optionally, you can use string-based URL reverse. This is how we work with URL. It is a flexible object that is completely modifiable. What it gives to us? We can customize routing whatever we like, make independent reusable apps, make Django-style middlewares just by calling next handler in middle of the code. We can do crazy and unpredictable things using flexibility of this approach. And what do we have? We already use it on quite complex informational sites. We have history of development, of discussions, and we have cool CMS that is not published yet, but we use it for years, and we are glad. Yes, we are glad. But we have huge issues. We have no community, unfortunately, and there is no usable documentation. That's it. Oh, that's it.
Okay. Thank you so much. Ictomy, the tool for building web apps without usable documentation. Thank you so much. Our next speaker will be member of the Postgresql Europe board, my esteemed colleague Gabriele Bartolini, talking about the highlights of Postgresql 9.3, the up and coming release. And he's already ready. No. I have been pestering Gabriele for at least 3 months that he organizes a dinner here. And he finally submitted to my wishes 2 weeks ago. And I guess he will also mention it. But now, you ready? No, he's not ready. So you really want to choke. I've got a very complicated one. 3 logicans walk into a bar. The bartender asks them, do all of you want a beer? The first one says, I don't know. The second one says, I don't know. The third one says, yes. I have an SQL version. 3 queries walk into a bar. The first one says null, the second one returns null, and the third one returns true.
Okay, I got lost.
Gabriele.
Okay, thank you everyone. And Yeah, my name is Gabriele. Hang on. Gabriele Bartolini, as Harald was saying. I work for Second Quadrant. I do mainly Postgres stuff, of course. So I do OLTP databases and data warehouses, and I'm also part of the Postgres community. So I'll briefly talk about PostgreSQL or Postgres, which is, of course, I hope you know, it's a relational database management system, which is open source. It started in '95, even though Postgres was actually started by Stonebreaker in '86. Its current major version is 9.2, and it's distributed under the BSD Postgres license, which is similar to BSD, and it's not subject to monopoly or acquisitions, so you're safe if you use it. It's platform independent as well. So PostgreSQL 9.3, we hope that it comes out in September. So let's say autumn, next autumn it will be out. It will introduce JSON operators and functions, so you can actually write your own functions that use JSON and actually take advantage of internal functions that have been added in this version. There's the first attempt of updatable views. You can build materialized views as well from 9.3, even though it's just the first step for supporting this feature. You can have writable foreign tables, which means you can have your Oracle table and you can write into that through a foreign table in Postgres. So you can write insert into this table and it's actually an Oracle table. Okay. There's also support for lateral join, but all the new features are here. Please participate to the beta program. So beta 2 is out. You can download, test it, and please report any bug that you find. These are the information about how to become a beta tester. I chose a few slides to show you what the JSON functionality will introduce in Postgres 9.3. JSON data type exists already in 9.2, but so this is how you store JSON data into a Postgres table. This is how you return a JSON object in Postgres directly through SQL. So select to JSON, a row, and that's what you get. But more interestingly, you can actually return the result of a full query as a single JSON object. One row, one record. Okay, so this is something you can use from 9.3. You can also use operators, which means you can access internal attributes of a JSON object. Finally, the upcoming events of the community, of the Postgres community, are the European conference, which is in Dublin too, so probably 2 weeks after the PyCon conference. For those of you who come from Italy, there's the Italian Postgres Day, which is October 25th. And of course, if you like to eat Florentine steak and you use Postgres, you can join us tomorrow at 9 p.m. Okay, so ask Harald or send an email to elephant.dinner.secondquadrant.it. Finally, I have 30 seconds. This is a new project we are starting. It's called Open Source Software for Business. It's a conference. So I'd like to have Python speakers at this conference too. It will be in Prato, September 19 and 20. It's focused on DevOps and Kanban, but also open source technologies. And call for papers is now open, as well as call for sponsors. So,
thank you, Gabriele.
5 seconds.
Thank you so much. Our next speaker will be Sandberg about giving turtles a sense of touch. This morning, Holger gave a very fascinating talk about all those organizations listening on us, and I got a new idea how to counteract it. I'm thinking about putting copyrighted material attached to my emails. And if they store my emails in their big data centers, I can send the rights enforcement groups against the spying groups. And I feel like Picard when he sent the Romulans against the Borgs. Okay, you're still fighting with the projector. You can do an announcement. Anna, take this microphone. Another lightning talk, announcement by Anna.
PyCon North America has just opened up the call for proposals, so we would love to see proposals from everyone here so that we can have you give talks in Montreal, and that will be in 2014. But they have just opened the call for proposals today.
Thank you so much, Anna.
Refusing to notice my
It's doing what?
refusing to notice.
You
Move on to the next.
I moved on to the next lightning talk, and you drive. Oh, the next lightning talk is great. It's a test-driven massage. I understand that title that I get a massage as a test drive. Rob? Oh, he's coming with some slides, so I don't get a massage. You can always hope. Are you ready? Else I have a prepared joke. Okay. Test-driven massage. Rob Collins, take your microphone, test it.
Yes, right, on Wednesday evening at the Pie Barbecue, we have a new experience of being outdoors with people milling around. So your regular opportunity to donate money to that worthy cause of the Python Software Foundation will happen on Wednesday evening, but we have a little problem. In that before, the massage team has been able to come round with you sat at tables and you can't get away. And we get sort of equal amounts of money from people who don't want a massage and those who do want a massage. So with people milling around, it will be quite possible for you all to avoid those collecting money by moving to a different place as they follow you around. So what I need is a help from a team of people who will be able to be a sort of collecting with lots of buckets, lots of people helping do that, and some other masseurs as well. So I'll be at the back after the session of lightning talks today. Please come and see me if you're interested in helping do the massage or collect money in aid of the Python Software Foundation. And one other thing, we've got tomorrow a session on test-driven madness, debating about the merits or otherwise of testing. I've set up a blog there at testdrivenmadness.com. Please go and register there and make some comments, start some discussions. Let's have some discussions during the week about whether testing really is a good idea, because most of us know it's overhyped and really isn't worth doing most of the time. Better to get on with producing features than tests.
Woo! Now we try another test with putting up this laptop. Schrödinger and Heisenberg are traveling in a car and stopped by the cop. The cop asked Heisenberg, "Do you know how fast you have been going?" And he tells the cop, "No, but I know exactly where I am." Now I've got an American version or a European version of the next line. Which one do you want? American version? Okay, the European version. The cop tells Heisenberg, "You've been going 120 kilometers per hour." The American version, 90 miles per hour. And Heisenberg tells the cop, so now I'm lost. The cop does not give up and opens the trunk and tells Schrödinger, do you know that there's a dead cat in your trunk? Well, it's dead now. So let's move to Python turtle graphics. Can you give me your first name, because I can't read it?
It's Mike.
Mike! It's also Schrödinger M. Not really here. Mike?
Yeah.
Is it moving forward? Good. Mike, about giving turtles a sense of touch.
Now, giving the turtle module...
Take the microphone. The NSA can only record the microphones.
Joys with technology. Wonderful. Extending the turtle module. Everyone knows the turtle module, but it doesn't actually do a great deal other than just draw stuff. It would be nice to be able to draw stuff which perhaps had some properties and allowed the turtle to be a little bit more sensitive to its environment. Python was designed, as I believe, to be a teaching language, and it's certainly being used in schools, and in fact we heard today it's being used in not only just the UK but in other parts of the world as well, and that's great. So Python is a good starting point for any kind of development in terms of programming and the like. Turtle graphics is, oh dear, never mind. Turtle graphics is a way into programming as an entry to programming, and it's also for teaching geometry. It's excellent for teaching geometry. However, if we then add extra action at a distance type things, we can expand the type of geometry that that it's possible to learn about. So, physical turtle adds the ability to draw solid lines. Turtles can't cross these lines, and you effectively get a sense of touch for your turtle. The turtle comes up to something, it can't go any further, it knows it can't go any further, so it's touched something. But we still have all the underlying abilities of the turtle module. And as an example, we're drawing a solid thing, and there's a turtle which is going around and it's turning right every so often in order to keep touching this thing, and it's just working its way around there without actually knowing what the original shape is at all. It's just touching it and deciding where to go. That is the basic action of what goes on here.
Cool.
What do we learn from this? Well, we can think about how do we terminate that walk around the object? What kind of geometrical things can we think about which allow us to say, okay, we've been all the way around the object, we now know everything there is to know about it. Can we use this to draw a maze? Or perhaps even, can we use this to solve a maze which has already been drawn? Because actually it turns out drawing a maze is a bit of a difficult problem. But we can be thinking about drawing simple corridors to start with, and perhaps stuff a turtle up into one end of the corridor and watch it bounce around and get out the other end, and people have learned about how to do various things. So it's lots of useful things we can do with that. I haven't quite worked out any of the extensions here, but I'm aware that we could sort of turn this on its head, and instead of a sense of touch, we could make it into a sense of sight. We could certainly perhaps think about making it into a sense of smell, leaving the possibility of pheromone trails for turtles to follow. We could even do 3D geometry. There's a whole range of things that you can do with this relatively simple geometrical structure, the turtle, which will expand the learning possibilities for schools particularly. And it's there as a module on PyPy. There's a Bitbucket reference to it, which is also referenced on PyPy. So just go on PyPy and you'll get all of this information anyway. I'm Mike Sanford. I'm at mike@mikedeplume.com, and if anybody wants to talk to me about it, I'm around here, and that's my email address. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mike. So I need Radomir on the stage. He is already moving. He will talk about how to write a Trojan. A Trojan horse, I think it's a kind of a misbranding. Who wrote a Trojan horse? The Greeks. So there's an origin of the saying, never trust Greeks who bring presents. We should have told it the people negotiating with them. But now I hope that Trojan is written in Python. You can't do bad stuff with Python. Okay, you ready? Take the microphone, else we can't get a recording. Thank you.
Okay.
Radomir.
So, of course, this is a little bit evil, and but this is really old stuff, nothing new, and this could have been done since long time. So I hope that nobody will say that I'm giving people wrong ideas or something like that. So it started when, well, I learned at IRC channels a lot of Python-related ones, and a question that comes up there a lot is how do I prevent my users from seeing my code? And the best answer that we came up with was don't give them your code. That means they can't use your application, so that kind of doesn't work, and people are persistent. And one thing that we once suggested was that you can just zip it, because Python can execute zipped code, compressed code, without any problem. And then the guy came back and said, okay, I zipped it, and I also changed its name to .py. But my users are using the file command on Linux, and they are seeing that it's a zip file. How can I prevent that? And I thought about it, and wait a minute. The file command uses magic numbers, and magic numbers are only checked at the beginning of the file, and the zip header is at the end of the file. So if you put just random trash in the beginning, it won't know it's a zip file. And it worked for him, but that gave me an idea. If you take a file with some code that you want to hide and call it dunder main dunder.py, then you zip it into a zip file, you can execute that. But that's not finished. Then you write a second file with some harmless code. And you put a hashbang at the top so that it can be just executed by clicking on it. And then you just concatenate those two files together. You get something that looks like this.
Absidic?
Yeah, you can see the spaces in there. Well, in this case, it didn't compress very well, but if it would be longer code, it would compress better and would be less readable. And the catch is it executes the code that is compressed, not the code that is visible. So that's how you can make a Trojan horse in Python.
Thank you much, Radomir. So what you can at least take home from this lightning talks, if you see a lot of @ signs in a file, it's either Absidic or a Trojan. Nobody knows what's better. We need Gemma Hensch. He or she is not ready? What? It's not the next lightning talk. So we get Steve CP, about platform as a service to save world peace. He's getting around the nice Venetian, Florentine columns. Gets that up. We have a new module for Python for quantum computing. It's import maybe this. And we have to adjust the sen. There should be 0 or 1 maybe methods to do a thing. But we all know there are only 2 hard things in computer science. That's cache invalidation, naming things, and off by 1 errors. Steve.
This is from an Ignite talk, so it should go every 15 seconds. So whether I talk or not, the talk will be over in 5 minutes. I'm going to talk about how many of you have used a platform as a service? Everybody who came to the OpenShift booth who signed up should be raising their hand. But this is not going to be a propaganda talk for OpenShift, I promise. So this is Nirvana for developers. Do you recognize it? This is a story of Nirvana and fighting. So this is the way, with one command, developers can spin up a Python application with Postgresql. No calling sysadmins or anything else. What's happening under the hood, though, is a bunch of Linux magic. So the sysadmins, the Uber sysadmins, I'm in Germany, I can say, or no, I'm in Europe, I can say Uber now. They've built all this nice stuff under the hood so that developers can just do one command and get it. But this is not so interesting in a lightning talk. What's more interesting is stories of good and bad. 2 epic forces fighting. And I'm going to go into this story of epic forces fighting. Here we see werewolves and vampires. And our analogs are
Perl and Python?
Developers. Right? And here you see the prototypical developers. They've got nice shiny Macs. They're all sitting next to each other. Right? They hang around in groups. They're actually in the sunlight somewhat. Right? They go out into it every once in a while. They like fast things. They're drinking and there's your sysadmin. Your sysadmin doesn't even have a computer. All he has is a rack system that he's plugged a terminal into. He's sitting in the dark. He's lonely by himself. And this is how they perceive each other. On the left is developers and their perception by the sysadmins and vice versa. Right? And so, what do developers want? They want things fast. Right? Oh, I've got this demo for the CEO on Monday. I need a server now. It's 5 o'clock at 5. I need one in 15 minutes. And it has to have Node, and it has to have Mongo, and Python, and it has to be running really fast. Because I write lots of fast code, and I need fast things. And then sysadmins want this. I want a big honking system that is easy to fix, will run like for a couple 100,000 kilometers with nothing going wrong. And that's what sysadmins want. So we have 2 groups at each other's throats. Developers think this when they want a new machine. Sorry, I thought I might be loud enough without the microphone. Right, so this is how the developer says, I'm gonna have to fill out 10 pages. The sysadmin feels like this. You will not get on my Linux, one does not simply get on my Linux server. And notice his hair's not washed. Just pointing that part out right there, okay? So we're at odds here. And this is what ends up coming out of it. Right? So no one's talking to each other. Everybody hates each other. The dev said, it worked for me. And then ops is looking at a fire. Right? So this is what ends up happening because of this. And this is what your boss ends up feeling like. The person who's giving out all the money. I basically am paying you idiots to argue about why I can't have the application I want. And so the solution for this in the end is peace, right? I think with platform as a service, we can get the chimps and the humans kissing again, right? So the idea with platform as a service is you use one command to spin it up, and with platform as a service on the back end for the sysadmins, there's all this really fancy Linux stuff that they like to dig into, keeping everything secure. And so while I'm not going to advocate any particular platform as a service, I'm assuming almost everyone here is a developer, yeah? No, sysadmins? I'm not going to say who is the chimp or the ape. Okay, so now I'm going to tell a little tale at the end here about where I see sysadmining going based on working on a platform as a service. This is how we used to build cars, right? Lots of people there's a lot of jobs and dangerous jobs, and we've replaced them with what? Robots. And what we've mostly replaced with robots is the tedious, dangerous work, right? And I see this is where sysadmin is going, given what I've seen it shows doing platform as a service. Right? So if you're a sysadmin and all you're doing is spinning up VMs, you're either going to be a friendly mechanic. This is what the future looks like for you. It's the standardization process. And it's what's happening in development. You're going to be a friendly mechanic. Hi, I'm going to set you up with your email account, and here's your Oracle ID, which is not where you want to be. Or you're going to be an aftermarket tweaker. I don't know how many of these you have in Europe, But in the United States, you'll see these cars with neon lights under them, and they'll be lowered all the way to the ground, and they've got tons of speakers. So you're building high-end custom systems. So this is, your developers come and they want Node, and you build it all. The other end is, this gentleman works in the Lamborghini factory. And all he's in charge of is building the seats in the Lamborghini factory. So if you're a sysadmin, you should be looking at aftermarket tweaker, or this is the guy running your SAP or Oracle system, and that's the end. Woo! Thanks.
Steve, about platform as a service. The only lightning talk left is how to move from Gamma. Gamma, are you ready now? Or do we have you move on Wednesday and conclude the lightning talk session for today? It was an honor to be here. It was an honor to have you here. So give all the speakers a second round of frenetic applause. If you're a lady and you have got a token for the Pie Ladies cocktail, maybe now it's the time to ask where it will be. Else, enjoy the evening. See you tomorrow.